am using my ring light today because we're filming this on probably the gloomiest day we've had so far. Super rainy, super gross. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Today's video is really special to me. I'm really excited to film it. I'm actually filming this for the third time, believe it or not. Don't ask me why, it's been a journey, but we're back, and hopefully today's the last time that I'm going to film it, because if I don't get it done today, it's probably not going to happen. So on the day that this video goes up, it's going to be my 24th birthday, and I thought it would be nice to tell you guys 24 things that I learned at 24. I actually did this video last year, and you guys really liked it. I really liked it, and I thought, you know, especially with 2020 being the year that it has been, we've all learned a lot, we've all grown in a lot of different ways, so I thought, why not share it with you guys? I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and let's get started. Number one is slow progress is still progress. I really had to learn this year because, you know, I had a lot of expectations for this year, a lot of goals that I had set for myself, personal goals, work goals, and obviously this year did not turn out to be what I thought it was going to be. About a month or two into quarantine, I started feeling pretty discouraged about the pace that my life was moving at, and you know, the fact that it felt like I wasn't really moving at all. I really had to come to terms with the fact that sometimes life doesn't move at the pace that we might want it to, but that doesn't mean that we're not progressing. Number two is don't rush the process. Everything has its own time. Everything is gonna happen when it's meant to. So I still need to remind myself of this sometimes, but I think this year I really realized that, I realized that I need to turn my phone off before I start filming. I realized that happiness and fulfillment doesn't come from crossing the finish line. Happiness and fulfillment comes from the lessons and experiences we learn along the way. Number three is ask for help. This is a big one for me personally, and I've actually expressed this in a vlog recently that I have a hard time asking for help. I sometimes even have a hard time accepting help. And you know, I've always been the kind of person who thought that I could just do it on my own. And I realized that you can't. Nobody can. Number four is surrender to uncertainty. Another one that's really relevant to 2020 because this year has been uncertain for all of us. And for me personally, it's been uncertain in a number of ways. Sometimes life is going to be uncertain for a longer period of time, and you can't just sit at home and be crippled by that feeling. I learned that you kind of have to surrender to that feeling and let go of things that you can't control. Focus on the things you can control. Focus on your attitude on those things, and have a little bit of faith. Honestly, faith should have been its own point in this video, but learning to have faith and learning to trust that things are going to work out the way they're meant to is a game changer. Number five is listen to your intuition, not to your anxiety. And this one actually came about because I had seen something on someone's story. I forget who it was, but this person was doing like a Q&A, and someone had asked them, how do I know if this feeling is my gut, like my intuition, or my anxiety? And this person had said, the difference between your intuition and anxiety is facts. I thought that was brilliant. I know it's such a simple concept, but it really, you know, I think a lot of us just spend too much time in our heads sometimes, and we get too hung up on our, you know, fears and feelings and things like that. So now when I feel worried about something or I feel stressed, I always just ask myself, like, are there facts behind this? Are there facts behind my worries or my stress? Or am I just projecting my fears and my past experiences? Number six is know the difference between being a nice person and a good person. And I think this is probably one of the most valuable lessons ever. Definitely one of the most valuable lessons that I had to learn, because I definitely once was too nice of a person. Sometimes it still creeps back, I have to be honest. But yeah, the difference between being a nice person and a good person is being stepped on, being taken advantage of, and not being respected in the way that you deserve. And it actually has nothing to do with your core, but it has more so to do with how you let other people treat you, the boundaries that you set for yourself, and the respect that you ask. And that leads me to number seven, which is learn self-respect and self-love as soon as possible. I feel like real life doesn't really start until you love and respect yourself. truthfully and honestly, your life and your best life, let's just say your best life doesn't start until you love and respect yourself, because that is when you stop accepting bad treatment, accepting bad behavior, letting bad toxic people into your life. It's when you stop being taken advantage of, all the things that I said in the previous point. Like, once you learn to respect and love yourself, that's when you teach other people to love and respect you as well. Number 8 is tell people you love them and that you care about them, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to know that there's people out there who care about them. And yeah, this might sound a little bit cheesy, but I don't know why or when we were taught that it's not cool to show our feelings or to tell people how we feel about them. But yeah, life is too short for that. So if you have someone that you love, tell them that you love them. Number 9 is that having material things will never top having financial security. Number 10 is working and making money cannot be the only thing that defines you and makes you feel good about yourself. This was a really unexpected lesson for me, because I didn't realize how much of my self-worth came from working and making money until both of those things were taken away from me. And if you guys watch some of my videos from beginning of quarantine, you'll remember that I expressed to you guys that I really had to work at finding self-worth in other areas of my life and other parts of myself. I realized that yes, working and making money is important, but those two things don't really define you as a human being. And it also becomes incredibly hard to find self-worth from those areas when those two things are taken away from you out of your control. So always remember that your self-worth has to come from a number of different places, not just what you do and how much money you make. Number 11 is that fast fashion is a huge problem. And I recently watched a documentary with David Attenborough, and I don't know why it was this documentary in particular, but it really made me realize what we are doing to the planet, what we're doing to the world. It's actually really scary, and I'm not going to go into it too much now because I'm planning on talking about it in another video, but there's certain things that we do out of greed in this world that is going to leave our generation and our future generations in a really difficult position. So think about where you're buying from, think about what you're doing when you buy certain things, and yeah, maybe just be a little bit more mindful, because I definitely am determined to stop feeding into this problem. Number 12 is support local business. I have become a lot more aware of local businesses in my area. Again, something that the pandemic brought on to me, and it honestly feels really good. And maybe it's a little bit more expensive and maybe it takes a little bit more time and energy, but if you have the money to do so, and you know, it doesn't mean you have to do it every day, but if you have the money and you have the time to look into it, it's really something worth doing. Number 13 is be careful who you keep close to you. Be careful about who you tell your plans to, who you tell your secrets to. I've learned this year that it takes time to truly get to know people. And I'm not even talking about like relationships, because obviously that takes a long time. But it takes a long time to get to know people as friends too, especially if you don't see them all the time. I've learned that sometimes the people who want to be closest to you don't actually have the best intentions. So just be careful who you tell what. Number 14 is that having a clear space, a clean and clear space, directly correlates to having a clear mind. I would even say like having less things, less clutter, directly correlates to how you're gonna feel inside your head. Because if you have clutter out here, you're also gonna feel like you have clutter in here. Number 15 is that everything really does happen for a reason. And although, you know, the circumstances at the time might really suck and we might not understand why it's happening, over time, things start to add up, things start to make sense, and you realize why it had to happen the way it did. All right, number 16 is that healthy relationships are based off connection, not attachment. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Number 17 is that a period of sadness is almost always followed by a period of clarity. Number 18, we're almost there. Woo, woo. Number 18 is life gets so much better when you learn to let go of expectations. And again, this is another one of those pandemic thoughts. But we all have this perfect picture in our heads of how like our lives are supposed to go. And I think that most of the time life doesn't go the way we planned, but that doesn't mean that it can't be great. And that doesn't mean that we can't fulfill all of our dreams. It might just not happen the way that we plan it in our heads. So I think the sooner we let go of the expectation of how it's supposed to be, and we kind of just ride the wave of how it's meant to be, see what I did there? We'll all be a lot happier. Number 19 is you don't have to be perfect to be successful. You just have to do what most people can't. And that is 1, be consistent, and 2, be disciplined. Number 20 is that having some sort of routine or organization in your life is super important, because if there's no structure in your life, there's not going to be any structure in your mind either. Number 21 is don't get too attached to how things are supposed to happen. I think a lot of us spend way too much time and energy focusing on how something is going to happen or how we're going to bring something about, when it's really the what and the why that we need to focus on the most. Number 22 is you don't have to give people second chances, especially when it comes to that person having you in their life. There are people in this world who will see you and recognize your value the first time around. And it shouldn't take someone a second chance to realize how much you're worth. People are always going to regret leaving a good person, or walking out on a good person, or mistreating a good person. But it's not your job to help them recover from that. Number 23 is don't judge people. Judging people is a really ugly character trait, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't spread good energy. And to be honest, like, the only reason we judge people is because we don't understand them, or because we would do things differently. And at the end of the day, we don't know people's lives, we don't know their stories, and we also don't know the reasoning behind their actions. So send people love, wish them well, and mind your own business. All right, and number 24, the last one, the most important project you will ever work on is yourself. It's so important that we prioritize time for ourselves, whether that's focusing on our physical health, our mental health, again, super, super important. Whether that's self-reflecting, journaling, reading a book, learning something new. We need to prioritize showing up for ourselves before we can even think of showing up for other people. So guys, that is it for this video. I'm so glad we made it through without any camera or battery malfunctions this time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, maybe some things that you guys have learned this year in the comment section down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah!